Perfect. Love
Good
that.
morning. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. You can
Oh,
definitely
hey, good
talk.
morning. I just went to the phone instead of fiddling with all this computer stuff.
I know. That made it easier, right?
Yep. Go ahead and turn
That's
your
fine,
volume
yeah.
up.
So, well, I didn't mean to interrupt. I kind of like what you're going through here. I think what I'd like to talk about, or just like to hear Brandon's explanation of what the cloud is and the benefits of it and the advantages of it. I know what it is, but I'm just looking for some verbiage to explain to customers the benefits of the cloud. In fact, I'm going to a seminar this evening in Boulder with a guy who owns a cloud company, and he's trying to get businesses to do kind of the same thing we are, and that's get all their infrastructure on the cloud. So I guess I'm just, and you can finish what you're doing, Brandon, but I just like kind of maybe a little outline like you're doing for benefits of the cloud and why it's the next level up for businesses, that they don't have to carry hardware and that kind of thing.
Okay, great. Actually, that's perfectly where we're going, Joe.
Okay.
What we're kind of doing, and basically because there wasn't anybody else here, what we were doing is kind of going through tools that we have in our dispense and how we can actually push them to the next level. So we started out with your head and mind. Everybody has that. Paper and pencil, pretty simple. Then into word processing, and where we are going to kind of take it is the next step after word processing is starting to organize some of your data in like Excel spreadsheets, and you can start entering formulas and functions and have multiple tabs, and like you start getting into this, and then it goes into a database, and then into software, and then eventually into web, and that's kind of where the cloud is. And so we would love you to participate if you want. And do you want to jump right to cloud, or do you want to keep building it and kind of seeing what the limitations are of the other pieces of the puzzle?
Well, you could keep building it. I'm on speaker now, so can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can keep going. I've got to, I'm going to be in and out, unfortunately, kind of like I did last month. So at about 10:30, I've got to run, and then I'll probably pick you back up around lunchtime or after your lunch break.
Okay, well, let's do this. We happen to be in a Word document right here, so we can add whatever we want. Let's actually jump into the next level, and let's just call it Web and Cloud. We'll fill back in when Shannon and I are just doing it on Excel and softwares and databases and all that kind of stuff. But let's talk Web and Cloud for a second, okay?
That'd be great. Now, also, since I'm kind of doing business here, my phone may ring, and I really should take the call if it comes in, but I'll just kind of give you a brief timeout if something like that happens.
Okay, cool. Well, Joe, what we're going to do with you, if you're okay, I'll talk and talk, but we'd love you to interact with us as well. So the first thing, what are some of the features of the cloud or the web? What are some cool things about it?
Well, it's great when it's fast because you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's versatile.
Anyone can access it from any place if they have a device.
Okay, awesome. What are some other benefits of the cloud? It's centralized. Okay, potentially unlimited as far as storage capacity.
Right. I think Joe had mentioned it was versatile as well.
Awesome. What are some other definite advantages to the cloud? So as soon as you get into web, you have multiple things that are working together. You have outside resources that you can pull from. You're no longer standalone. You kind of are able to mix and blend, and you can use outside pieces.
You have so many features, too. I mean, you have graphics and links and this and that. Like you said, mixing and blending. So you have all sorts of stuff you can combine. Whatever you need.
You can print.
Sky's the limit. Maybe that's why they call it cloud.
So you can search like crazy.
if your hardware crashes, you're not limited to that piece of junk computer that just crashed.
Okay, cool.
True.
So,
Just switch device, yeah.
okay, perfect. Here's another thing that's huge. As soon as you go to the cloud, you cut out all of your IT expenses. All you need is you go to Walmart and get a wireless router, you plug it into the wall. As long as you're paying for your thing, that's your network. It's instantly that easy. You no longer have to have an IT guy that comes in and stretches cables and physically connects things and has internal servers. Like, your costs are huge. Like, you can cut your IT cost to nothing. And IT is your information technology. Okay, so take a normal business environment. They have to have a computer guy on staff, because if the printer goes down and it can't connect to this, then they have to go do this and this. But if you're on web or cloud, you hook up just the peripherals that you need. If you don't need, you go mobile. That's a huge advantage, is the mobile ability of this. You could go from your car, you could go on the go. You can actually have multiple things connected to the same information.
Yeah, so you can collaborate from anywhere, or in the case of Adilas, multiple people can be entering in data from different locations.
You can share tasks, and how would you phrase that?
Work in progress, accomplished.
Yeah, they can all administer the data.
Okay, great. And because it is centralized, you're able to do that. We also have, you can permission it. Think of how hard it would be to take a spreadsheet or a word processing document and say, oh, you can only go to section number 5 and change that. If you give them the word processing document, you just gave them the whole kit and caboodle. And so your permissions and settings, you can automatically kind of make it start flexing. It actually gets smart. You can do what's called conditional logic in that. Okay, perfect. What are some other advantages that you get with the web? One of the things is that you don't have to do any updates. So if you have physical software, at the end of the year, all of a sudden you have to pay the new upgrade fee and the new this, or you even have to wait. No waiting. It basically gets cascaded right out to the server. Okay, what are some other potential benefits of the cloud? I would say security, just because you have the permissions and settings and you can check IP addresses and you can, that is to be debated for sure, just because it's kind of like, whoa, if anybody can access it, how do you limit it? And those are potential problems of the cloud, but your things that you're gaining are so much bigger and better, and just, I think it's really amazing in some of those forms and fashions. So here's our small list so far that we've got. We're just going to kind of quickly review. Great when it's fast. It's going to be personal. Anyone can access it with a device. It's centralized, unlimited as far as storage capacity. That is relative to which cloud platform you're on, but basically, who cares? If it's in the cloud, you just mount another server or another table, or you technically can add. Like, you're dealing with space versus like a confined hard drive or something. You're dealing with more of a space. It's very versatile. You can use outside pieces, other web services. You can connect to gateways. You can connect to shipping. You can do e-commerce. You can do searching. Tons of stuff. Tons of features. Graphics, links, forms. I'm going to put in here buttons. Animations. Video. You have sound. So you can start playing with the different senses as well. It's awesome. Here's what we do inside of Adilas right here. It's search like crazy. All data is live and searchable. And Joe, by the way, I liked the one thing that you said the other day. You're like, all data is live and searchable, scalable. I can't remember all your different acronyms that you started using, but you started using, like, I saw about 5 different ones that you put on, like sustainable, searchable, serviceable.
Secure.
Do you remember all the different things you
Security
said?
in there too.
What was that?
You can include security and secure, so I think that's important too. So it's searchable and scalable and secure.
Correct. I'm going to actually put that down here. Whoa, forgot a few things there.
And along with searchable, you can say serviceable, because you can go in and manipulate the data, and after you've searched it, you could say, oh, I need to change that. It's serviceable.
Okay, awesome. I love it. Searchable, secure, serviceable. What were some other
Scalable.
acronyms you had?
Scalable. And you could say sustainable in an environmental form, because you're not having to buy a bunch of hardware and servers and all that. You're consolidating your data.
Awesome. I love that. And you can do all of that in the cloud. Literally, you can cut your costs. You can go paperless. Now, that's really hard, because originally you end up with a paper, but you can document it and then make it so you're having to have less and less of your filing needs, like in a physical container. You can kind of scan stuff, and you can allow for stuff like this. One of the things that I think is really awesome that's coming down the pipeline is just you can skin it as well, which basically means you can take a function and put something up over the top of it, and it virtually acts like smoke and mirrors, but you can skin things in such a way. And this is like look and feel, or even flows and processes.
So, like what Russell did with that education homepage, that's what you're talking about, a visual skin that goes right into the system.
Correct. We just this morning, Joe, this is kind of fun, but on that particular one, they wanted to be able to add some FlexGrid tie-ins in bulk. So they're using FlexGrid to kind of use for the data points on those students. And just this morning, we actually launched them the new file so it could actually do it in bulk. Like a normal process would be find the person, say add a FlexGrid tie-in, walk through the process and hit add. That's a 1-by-1 ratio. Well, what we did in this one is we literally was like, okay, why don't we pull your list? We already know who your students are that are associated with you. Why don't you just click a small little box or click the top one that says select all, and then you can add things in bulk. So instead of being like going to individuals, you can speed up processes huge. Like you can cut steps and speed up processes. Processes will change again and again and again, but they have to be founded on principles which don't really change that much. Like those are your core concepts, but like you can cut steps, speed up processes, you can eliminate waste, you can time efficiency, like you can literally customize things to a huge level. Okay. Awesome. So what are some potential limitations that the cloud has?
Well, you have to have internet access, of course, but that's a diminishing problem Because pretty much the internet's on almost every public place anymore. I know the city of Longmont, we have an internet grid citywide, and on telephone poles every half a block or power poles, whatever in the neighborhood, we have like a true net of internet over the entire city limits. I'm actually thinking of switching to it because my darn Comcast is so expensive. But you know, any coffee shop you can pick up the Wi-Fi. And actually, in our public parks here in Longmont, we have free Wi-Fi just within the park itself. You know, within the city block. Otherwise, you got to pay for the internet access. But yeah, internet access. If you don't have it, you know, you're stuck. But now, even with cell service and 3G and 4G, it's pretty much everywhere, unless you're deep in the wilderness.
We're going to just put, it's becoming more and more free.
Free is good.
Yes.
Awesome, great, good comment, Joe. Love it. So one of the other things that I think that we need to comment about as far as a limitation is sometimes if you don't have it, you have to go to where that source is. So it may require travel. Like your mind, you could literally be in bed with nothing turned on, the lights off, electricity down, and you're good to go. Paper and pencil, you can do it anywhere. As soon as you start going digital or some sort of computer, you need electricity or something. One of the limitations of the internet is potentially where you are, so it might include some travel. Because like, usually it's not going to go down the whole world wide, but like, you would have to travel to where it would be applicable. And like you said, even with more and more of the phones and the satellites and the cell phones, it's kind of, I'm just going to put travel just because as a limitation, it could be a potential limitation. Signal. Don't laugh at my spelling, okay? Okay, so what is another possible limitation of the internet or of cloud and web?
Well, back with our positive being secure, then it could also be brought up as a negative being insecure.
Okay, okay.
Unsecure. Insecure, I guess, is a personal trait.
We follow it. That's okay.
Unsecure, yes.
Okay, and we're talking hack attempts and stuff like that.
Yeah, or stolen data. Yeah, hacked or stolen data, right?
Hello, how are you doing, Tony? Good, good. Hey, we have Joe Stoball in Colorado, and we're just kind of popping through some stuff. Feel free to jump in. We'll kind of get going back.
You can hop on any of these computers that you've got.
He has to take off in 10:30, so he wanted to just kind of get some verbiage on like what makes the cloud awesome. So we're kind of just playing with tools and such like this. This is my sister Shannon. Yep, this is Tony. So awesome, awesome. Okay, great. Joe, what's another potential limiting factor, if you will, on cloud or web? Or heck, we'll ask Tony, what's a limiting factor to web and cloud? What we're trying to do is we're saying features, advantages, and benefits. Okay, what's the limitations? Pros and cons kind of thing.
Limitation to the cloud. It's a hard one.
Okay, the skill set. Okay, you have to have somebody that is semi-savvy. Okay. Okay, you can't just be like your 3-year-old who can scribble something on paper and say, "Here, Mom, look, it's a dinosaur," and you can't tell what it is. They can't really do anything in this environment until they get a certain skill set. Okay?
Yeah, Brandon, but 3-year-olds can surf the internet with the best of them.
Seriously, I have seen it happen.
True story. True story. True story.
They're more tech savvy than I am.
My aunt and uncle have an iPad, and their little kids are like 3 and 4, just like take it and mess around. They know what they're doing, and it's like, what?
So true. It's so true.
But I think that actually on the pro side, like before we go up to limitations, like right here, let's actually put that younger generations are getting more and more savvy. Like I think that's actually a positive of it.
Definitely.
SAVVY?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, what are some potential other limitations and or how do you break the web? If you don't have internet, you break the web. If you don't have all the right pieces, like you can have a cloud program, but if you have one cloud program that doesn't talk to another cloud program or another cloud program, it potentially can break because it can splinter in that way. So one of the limitations is you might have to be trying to mix and blend from multiple places, which then makes it that you're not controlling all of those pieces. Okay? It's no longer on your computer. You didn't install it. If they change something one spot, it might potentially break something if you're playing with outside players. So how would you phrase that?
Interoperability.
Okay, how would you spell that? INTER?
EROP. Ability. Make sure that all your interfaces stay working.
Yeah.
See that working.
I believe you.
Okay, great. Awesome. What's another potential either limitation or how do you break a web cloud model? I'll tell you. This word right here.
Customization.
Okay, so if your particular web model, even though it's web and it's centralized, you can search it and it's awesome. If you can't tweak it, guess what? You just broke it because you can't tweak it. Like, here's what we're seeing across the board. Like, it seems like web is all this cool stuff, but we're actually seeing that the web model will end up breaking because of custom needs. Okay, no one is the same, so you always have to kind of make it so it's like so you can play in this custom level. So it's kind of interesting how that works. That's one of the ways that it actually can break is by custom needs. Okay, what about volume? Can volume potentially break the web?
Well,
You have huge capacity, but potentially.
Costs. You know, I'm sure you guys are always managing servers and trying to make them more efficient so they're more cost effective. So I think when you get into bigger data, it's expensive, I'm sure, to store it.
It is potentially, and like the interesting thing is that like technology keeps advancing and advancing. I'm using an old laptop here that I probably spent over $1,000 on. I could get 4 times this machine right now for probably $400, $500. 4 times this entire machine. Like things are advancing, and so we're basically following a wave, but no one really knows where the wave is going to go. That's a potential downside of technology, if you will. No one really knows where it's actually going to end up or what it's going to be used. But think of all the potential possibilities as far as virtualization and being able to go to your office, and instead of having to go physically to your office, you could just kind of start your little visual projector type thing, and you could be working right in space, you know, very similar to what they show in some of the sci-fi movies type stuff. Load balancing and potential traffic. Okay. Joe, do you have any questions so far? Do you want us to go back through it and kind of recap, or?
Yeah, sure. A quick recap, and then we can move on. Or
Okay.
yeah, just a quick recap, just because. What was his name? Tony. He just came in.
Yes, Tony. Yeah. And Tony is actually he's interviewed to kind of help us out as far as some of the technical back end, helping me with some of the different little projects that we're working on. And so, Joe, he might be one of the guys that we're putting on little projects, kind of saying, do this, do this, do this, do this. He hasn't seen Adilas at all, and so as we go through the training, we're going to kind of be bringing him up to speed and such. And so we threw him right into a little brainstorming session on tools and functions and stuff. So,
all right.
Okay, as we go through here, we might have to kind of mix and match or whatever, but let's go ahead and start. So we said web. It's great when it's fast. It can be personal. Anyone can access it with a device. Centralized, unlimited as far as storage capacity. It's versatile. We can use outside pieces, which is an advantage. You don't have to have everything on your system. You can potentially let other people build things, and then you can connect to it. Tons of features. You can have graphics, links, forms, buttons, animations, videos, sound, print. You can search like crazy. If hardware crashes, no problem. You just switch the device. It's not a big deal. You can cut your IT costs down to almost nothing. It's mobile, from your car, on the go, multiple things connected to the same piece of data. This is actually huge. Because it's centralized, you virtually can you can share, instead of saying load balancing on a server level, you could almost load balance on a person level, like who has to do these different pieces of the puzzle. Collaborating from anywhere. Multiple people can share tasks and work on projects. That's kind of what we were talking about right there. Conditional logic. You can make this thing smart. It can know what to do in certain situations according to permissions, according to parameters that are passed in. You can make things persist over time, which is kind of cool. You can't really do that in like a Word type environment, but you can have sessions. You can store things virtually without actually sticking it in the database. You have all kinds of cool little pieces of the puzzle. No updates. No waiting for the next upgrade. Searchable, secure, serviceable, scalable, sustainable. You can go paperless. You can skin things. I think this actually gets into this part where you can customize it to those person's needs in amazing ways. Amazing ways. You can cut steps, speed up processes, customize things to huge level. You have younger generations that are getting more and more savvy, more tech savvy. I'm going to go ahead and put tech savvy. Okay. Some of your limitations. You have to have the internet access. More and more places are getting it. It's becoming more and more free, so it's kind of less of a problem or a diminishing problem, but it still exists. Free is good. Good call, Joe. Travel. If internet is down, you have to get to where the signal is, so that is a potential limitation. Skill set. You have to be able to click, whether it's a mouse or on a tablet or it's a touchpad, or at least according right now, we're kind of a visual interaction. Eventually maybe it will be virtual and you'll be able to touch the air, but you still have to have some sort of interaction. You don't want everything just automated. That would actually be detrimental. That's like putting the skill saw with a pile of wood and saying, go. You don't want to do that. You actually really want user interaction in some places. It's just a tool. Interoperability, meaning playing with outside players and services. That gets a little bit funky because you can't control all of the pieces there. So that's important.
When you get down to like the web browser level, making sure it works in Office, Safari, Chrome, Internet Explorer, all that good stuff.
Correct. So technology keeps changing behind us, so as we do it, we have to kind of keep making sure that it plays with old and new technologies. We kind of have to play computers, like even operating systems. And some unknowns there, really. And some standards, and they expect you to kind of play a certain way so that you can communicate. Awesome, awesome. Good stuff. Joe, any other questions that you have? Where I would propose that it goes beyond here is to an API custom level, or even to the level like world building, like we were talking at one of the last trainings. Like, if you just start talking world building right out of the get-go, people are like, whoa, 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 whoa. But if you see how that, like, that takes the custom level of, like, what do you want your data to look like? How do you need it? Where's it stored at? How do you connect it? Who are the key players and the relationships? And what's the story? And that kind of almost goes to the world level. But, like, I would say that there's even things that are going to be beyond cloud and web. They stand on those features, but we're going to see that developing within the cloud, there's going to be infrastructures that are going to be needed. a system. So if you have cloud, say for instance you have something like this. You have a website, you have email, you have a browser, but they're all separate pieces. Those are all technically riding on the cloud, but they may not all play together because it's not in a system. So I'm seeing that systems and some of those different pieces will become very important. Very important. Awesome. Shannon, do you have any other questions or comments?
No, I enjoyed learning from all of you guys that have a little more experience with things like this.
Okay, cool, cool.
I didn't even think about some of those limitations.
It looks like, oh wow, that's a lot of limitations, but guess what you get? You get so much. You get so much.
So
So it's kind of interesting that way. Awesome.